Hello students, welcome to lesson 32 from your English course part 3. In today's lesson we are going to practice a jazz chant as well as practice the language that we have already learned. But first let's see today's topic. Topic Review 4th. Tema, cuarto repaso. Let's see the following presentation. Listen to the jazz chant and say true or false. Más adelante vas a escuchar un jazz chant y debes decir verdadero o falso. Okay, now copy this. He aquí las oraciones que debes copiar. Item A. The person had a good experience. La persona tuvo una experiencia buena. Item B. The person had an unlucky experience. La persona tuvo una experiencia desafortunada. Item C. The person went to a nightclub. La persona fue a un cabaret. Item D. The person went to a restaurant. La persona fue a un restaurante. Okay, time to copy. Ok, ahora vas a escuchar el jazz chant y recuerda que tu tarea es decir las oraciones que son verdaderas y las que son falsas. Escuchen.
The bread was stale, it was 4 days old. The milk was sour, the coffee was cold. The butter was rancid, the steak was tough. The service was dreadful, the waiter was rough. My bill was huge, his tip was small. I'm sorry I went to that place at all.
Ok, ahora vas a escuchar de nuevo el jazz chant.
The bread was stale, it was 4 days old. The milk was sour, the coffee was cold. The butter was rancid, the steak was tough. The service was dreadful, the waiter was rough. My bill was huge, his tip was small. I'm sorry I went to that place at all.
All right, now let's check the answers. Item A, the person had a good experience. That is false, because the person had a very bad experience. Item B, the person had an unlucky experience. That is true. Item C, the person went to a nightclub. That is false, because the person went to a restaurant. Item D, the person went to a restaurant. That is true. All right, now time to check your answers. All right, let's see now the following presentation. Listen once more and read the words on the screen to help you understand better. Ahora vas a escuchar las palabras que aparecerán en la pantalla que te ayudarán a comprender el significado de este jazz chant. Okay, copy this. All right, he aquí la lista de palabras que te ayudarán a comprender el jazz chant. Bread stale, pan duro. Milk sour, leche cortada. Coffee cold, café frío. Butter rancid, mantequilla rancia. Steak tough, filete duro. Service dreadful, servicio espantoso. Waiter rough, camarero grosero. Bill huge, cuenta enorme. Tip small, propina pequeña. Okay, copy this. Ok, ahora vamos a escuchar el Just Chant de nuevo para que te fijes en la pronunciación de las palabras.
The bread was stale, it was 4 days old. The milk was sour, the coffee was cold. The butter was rancid, the steak was tough. The service was dreadful, the waiter was rough. My bill was huge, his tip was small. I'm sorry I went to that place at all.
Muy bien, ahora vas a escuchar el Just Chant, pero con el subtitulaje en pantalla.
The bread was stale, it was 4 days old. The milk was sour, the coffee was cold. The butter was rancid, the steak was tough. The service was dreadful, the waiter was rough. My bill was huge, his tip was small. I'm sorry I went to that place at all.
Alright, ahora vas a tener la posibilidad de copiar el Just Chant. Just chant, more bad luck. Just chant, más mala suerte. The bread was stale. It was 4 days old. El pan estaba duro de hacía 4 días. Veamos la siguiente línea. The milk was sour. The coffee was cold. La leche estaba cortada. El café estaba frío. Ok, time to copy. Ok, ahora veamos la siguiente línea. The butter was rancid. The steak was tough. La mantequilla estaba rancia. El filete estaba duro. Ok, time to copy. Alright, veamos la siguiente línea. The service was dreadful. The weather was rough. El servicio estaba espantoso. El camarero fue grosero. Copy this. Alright, veamos la siguiente línea. My bill was huge, his tip was small. Mi cuenta fue enorme, su propina fue pequeña. Copy this. Ok, ahora veamos la última línea. I'm sorry I went to that place at all. Siento haber ido a ese lugar. Ok, copy this. Muy bien, ya que has copiado el jazz chant, te invito a que lo veas nuevamente y trate de repetirlo después del modelo.
The bread was stale, it was 4 days old. The milk was sour, the coffee was cold. The butter was rancid, the steak was tough. The service was dreadful, the waiter was rough. My bill was huge, his tip was small. I'm sorry I went to that place at all.
Muy bien, ahora repítanlo de nuevo.
The bread was stale, it was 4 days old. The milk was sour, the coffee was cold. The butter was rancid, the steak was tough. The service was dreadful, the waiter was rough. My bill was huge, his tip was small. I'm sorry I went to that place at all.
Alright, now you will have the chance to repeat the jazz chant once more with your teacher. Alright, now you're going to repeat line by line after your teacher, paying attention to pronunciation. The bread was stale. It was 4 days old. The bread was stale. It was 4 days old. The milk was sour. The coffee was cold. The milk was sour. The coffee was cold. The butter was rancid. The steak was tough. The butter was rancid. The steak was tough. The service was dreadful. The weather was rough. The service was dreadful. The weather was rough. The service was dreadful. The weather was rough. My bill was huge. His tip was small. My bill was huge. His tip was small. I'm sorry I went to that place at all. I'm sorry I went to that place at all. All right, ya que tuvieron la oportunidad de chequearlo segmento por segmento, ahora vas a practicarlo todo.
The bread was stale. It was 4 days old. The milk was sour. The coffee was cold. The butter was rancid. The steak was tough. The service was dreadful. The waiter was rough. My bill was huge. His tip was small. I'm sorry I went to that place at all.
All right, let's see now the following presentation. Work in pairs. Talk about a bad experience at a restaurant. Trabajo en parejas. Debes hablar acerca de una experiencia mala en un restaurante. Copy this. He aquí un ejemplo de cómo puedes realizar el trabajo en pareja. You. I remember the time I. Tú. I remember the time I. Recuerdo cuando yo. Puntos suspensivos. The food was. La comida estaba. ahí le agregas la información. The service was, el servicio estuvo o estaba. The waiter, the waitress was, el camarero o la camarera fue. Partner, tu compañero. How much did you have to pay? ¿Cuánto tuviste que pagar? Now you, tú. Entonces, ahora vendría tu compañero, partner. Did you tip the waiter, waitress? ¿Le diste propina al camarero o a la camarera? Now you, tú. Recuerda que vas a trabajar en parejas donde vas a hablar acerca de una experiencia mala en un restaurante. Ok, time to work. All right, let's see now the following presentation. Work in pairs. Talk about a good experience at a restaurant. Trabajo en parejas, donde debes hablar acerca de una buena experiencia en un restaurante. Okay, time to copy. Ok, ahora vas a copiar algunos adjetivos que te ayudarán en la descripción. Some adjectives to describe. Algunos adjetivos en la descripción. The food, delicious, deliciosa. Gorgeous, magnífica. Wonderful, maravillosa. Tasty, sabrosa. Copy this. Ahora veamos los adjetivos relacionados con el servicio. The service, fast. El servicio, rápido. Efficient, eficiente. Nice, bueno. The waiter, waitress. El camarero o la camarera. Nice, agradable. Kind, amable, atento o atenta. Willing to please people. Dispuesto o dispuesta a complacer a las personas. Ok, time to work. All right, let's see the dialogue again so that you can practice using the adjectives. Muy bien, espero que hayas podido practicar utilizando los adjetivos estudiados en la lección de hoy. Now, let's see the following presentation. Muy bien, esta actividad te la voy a dejar como tarea. Write about a good experience at a restaurant. Debes escribir sobre una buena experiencia en un restaurante. Copy this. Bien, el ejemplo es el siguiente. Begin like this. Puedes comenzar de la siguiente forma. I remember the time I went to a restaurant. Recuerdo la ocasión en que fui a un restaurante. Y recuerda que aquí debes utilizar los adjetivos estudiados en la clase de hoy. Por ejemplo, I remember the time I went to a restaurant. The food was delicious. The service was very nice. ¿Ok? Aquí tienes un ejemplo de cómo puedes realizar la tarea. Well, I hope you enjoyed today's lesson, that you learned the adjectives to use when you go to a restaurant or when you're going to talk about an experience. All right? That's all for today.